Hi guys and welcome back to the Wolfpack, and today we've got a new video for you, and today we're going to be discussing some transfer news and the overall state of Wolves going into their official first pre-season games, talking about the formation, talking about new players, etc, etc. So yeah, it's going to be more of a talkative video today, more theorising what we think we could see as Wolves go into their official pre-season matches ahead of the Premier League season on August the 7th.
Out for blood. Oh, Wolves come out to play.
These are the greatest Wolves days of my lifetime.
So I think the main thing to discuss with Wolves is the formation switches. And last season we played a 5 at the back and looked fairly defensively solid for the most part of it, until Max Kilman got injured towards the end of the season, and that sort of messed us up a little bit. But we definitely lacked in an attacking sense. And I guess the frustrating thing for a lot of Wolves fans is it's clear to see that the talent is there in the attack. You know, you've got players like Daniel Podence, Pedro Neto, Raul Jimenez, if you can get back to form. Chiquinho, obviously, but now he's injured, so that is a little bit of a shame. And players like Morgan Gibbs-White coming back, you know, you've got a lot of attacking flair there that can really do some damage. But I think there's definitely a general consensus that it massively puts us on hold going with a 5-back. And yes, it makes us defensively solid, but we just look so much better going forward in an attacking sense, that I think that a 4-back is 100% the way to go, in my opinion. Whether I think he'll do that, I'm not sure. And the main reason where it comes up in the air quite a lot is because of one man and one man only, and that's Cody. And without doing anything wrong, he's sort of become a little bit of an issue for Wolves in some senses. Don't get me wrong, he's a brilliant player, he's been absolutely excellent, but he can only play in a 5-back. I think it's time to see. We've seen him in a 4-back a couple of times. He just looks shaky. He doesn't quite look like in his comfort zone. I think it's probably, he's played in that for so long that it's going to be slightly difficult to change ways for him. And then you'd be trying to sort of force him into a team in a 4-back. It just wouldn't be working. So the dilemma you've got there really is it a 5-back? You know, do you want to play with that, or do you want to play with Cody, who's obviously club captain, great leader on the pitch, but then you obviously scupper your attacking threat. So it's definitely a headache that Bruno Lage will have. And for me, he needs to set up with a 4, as I've mentioned. And I think hopefully he will, with the new addition of Nathan Collins, a very strong right-footed centre-back who can fit really well. So for me, with the current additions and players we've got, I could picture something with Jose Sa in goal, Collins and Kilman as the two centre-backs, both tall, both strong, both very capable of playing in a back 4. Collins 21, Kilman 25. Lots of room to grow for them, and they're pretty quick as well, so you keep up with some quick attackers, and I think that's a really nice defensive three. Then in terms of your wing backs, that's when you start to branch out to more attacking players. When everyone's fully fit, personally, I'd have Ryan Aït-Nouri out on the left and Semedo out on the right. If Semedo can start scoring some more goals, and Aït-Nouri for that matter, and add to that with their assists and, you know, runners that they already provide, I think we can have a really brilliant attacking setup. And then you could have a base of 2 midfielders with someone like Neves, obviously, if he stays, which is looking increasingly likely by the day, and Moutinho, maybe a new central midfielder, depending on how the rest of the window goes. Personally, I've probably voiced this in a few videos beforehand, but we need a central midfielder, because no matter how good Moutinho is, I mean, he proved me wrong last season when I said this, but this season, he's 36, 37? I don't think he can play all, 38 games in a Premier League season. I think probably he's still going to be our main central midfielder, but you need someone that can come in and provide that backup role. And Dendoncker doesn't offer the same system, and he doesn't work like Moutinho. Condal is still very young, so I think you need a fringe player to come in and replace Moutinho when he needs a rest. And then in front of them, hopefully for me, it could be either Morgan Gibbs-White or Daniel Podence. Gibbs-White obviously getting 13 goals and 11 assists last season. I think, you know, he could be a really good addition. And by the sounds of things, Wolves really don't want to sell him, rejecting, you know, £25 million bids for Everton. You know, that's some serious money. But then reports also suggest that Podenta's been playing in that number 10 role with Gibbs White out wide, so you could see a sort of mix of that. And you can't forget about players like Adama Traore, Pedro Neto, out on the wings, who are really, really pacey, quick, potent, whipping those balls into one of Raul Jimenez or potentially a new striker, which I could see us bringing in. Not to mention other players such as Hwang Chan, who can come off the bench and provide some good impact for us. And now the reason why I only said Raul Jimenez a new striker is because today it was confirmed that Fabio Silva has left on loan to Anderlecht for the season. Personally, for me, I think it's a really, really good deal for him. He can go and smash it up in Belgium, hopefully, and come back with renewed confidence, having signed a new one-year deal as the club, which I think extends him to 2027. So, you know, comes back 3-4 years still on his deal. Matured player, hopefully, with more game time, and can be that main or secondary striker for Wolves if Raul Jimenez probably does move on at the end of this season, which I could definitely see. Now the striker role is a little bit of a dilemma because you've got Raul, but you probably want to bring in someone of a slightly different profile, maybe a little bit quicker, or maybe you're bringing another target man to directly challenge Raul for that role. I'm not really sure what Bruno's going to want to do, but from the reports you've been hearing, it sounds like he wants to bring in someone to challenge Raul Jimenez. And that man could be Christian Benteke, who Wolves have reportedly targeted today, and that comes from the Sun, so obviously take it with a pinch of salt because it's not the most reliable source, with all due respect, because earlier this year they said we're on the verge of announcing João Palhinha, and look what's happened with that now. So I wouldn't take it too seriously, but maybe if there is a tad bit of interest, it could suggest that Bruno Lage is going for a target man up front rather than a quicker player, as you'd already have players like Hwang Chan, Adama Traore and Pedro Neto, as mentioned in that profile. So, to sum up what I've been saying, a 5-back suits what we're comfortable with and what Cody's comfortable with. But for me, it's got to be a 4 in terms to take Wolves to that next level and challenge for European football again next season. But I guess it'll all come down to what we play in the friendlies, and I could definitely see if it's a 4-back tomorrow against Deportivo Alavés, which, by the way, is free to stream on their YouTube, so don't be paying $4.99 for the Wolves game. Go over to their YouTube and watch it on that with a bit of Spanish, lovely Spanish commentary. And yeah, so I think that basically sums up my thoughts, really, and we'll see what they play in the friendlies. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you stuck with me on that and agree with most of my thoughts. Let me know in the comments what you think down below, and I will see you next time.
Better on, when the wolves come out to play.